What's up, everybody? Dr. Jaws here, and it's October, and all month is Halloween, basically. And tonight, we are doing a ninja-appropriate, Batman-appropriate shark. Etmopterus benchleyi, the Ninja Lanternshark. So, I'm really excited about this. I hope you guys are doing well and had a good... I guess this was like the first Halloween weekend, you know, like, I mean, like, all month long is like Halloween for me, so, but I hope you guys had a good weekend. I'm really excited to dive into the shark. It is a brand new... What's up, Howard? What's up, Roy? Just saw your comments. As you probably know already, I'm a huge Batman fan, so, yeah, and we got some Batman study music, for tonight. I mean, it's not every day you have a shark that is known to be a ninja, and so I just figured it'd be appropriate to have some kind of Batman tribute of some sort. So, but hope you guys are doing well. Did you guys have a good weekend? It's funny, like, for me, I did all like the, you know, like adorable Halloween stuff, like, you know, just watching silly movies and, like, you know, just picking up decorations and stuff, like. But I also began, like, the horror journey in terms of, like, I always, like, freak myself out every October, and I just started watching Let's Plays of Outlast, which is a really terrifying game, and so I'm starting to get into the mood, and I'm starting to watch, like, ghost hunting shows, which, like, I don't believe in, but, like, they still creep me out, so I'm starting to slowly sink into, like, the actual horror aspect of October, but hope you guys had a good weekend. Howard, thank you so much for sending over this beautiful piece of art of the Ninja Lanternshark. So this is actually a really, really cool drawing, kind of showcasing the bioluminescence of this species. So I think this is our first official Lanternshark. Like, we've done Lanternshark, or we've seen Lanternshark bioluminescence before while talking about other species like the cookie cutter shark and the sleeper sharks, but we've never really done a lantern shark, and I think like a proper lantern shark. So it's really cool that we're starting with this particular species, because I think it's kind of like a charismatic species. I mean, just like overnight, and I think mostly because of the name, which we'll get into in a second. Let's see. Awesome. Howard, great weekend. Right, it's Canadian Thanksgiving. I forgot about that. Because, like, in America, Thanksgiving is in November, but I forgot it's Canadian Thanksgiving in Canada. So awesome. I'm really glad you had a good Thanksgiving weekend. And then Roy, yeah, like ghost hunting shows. For me, like, my favorite is Destination Fear, because, like, there's at least a little bit of, like, history and, like at least they do talk about, like, history of, like, creepy places, and they stay overnight at creepy places. But, like, as far as, like, the ghosts, I don't really care much about that part. It's more like the atmosphere, and then just, like, the history, like, which is kind of what most of those shows are on Travel Channel anyway. So that's kind of like, you know, that's kind of what I like about it, just creepy locations and stuff. Tons of ham during Thanksgiving. That is so cool. I totally forgot that Thanksgiving... Is it similar to American Thanksgiving, where it's... I think it is based on... Okay, it sounds really similar. Just like ham and turkey. This sounds very, very similar. That is so cool that they're different months. That's awesome. So, anyway, well, cheers. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. I've even got, like, a friend gave me this to me, a Batman mug, or a Bat mug. It's not necessarily Batman. It's Bat-related, but... But, alright, so Ninja Lanternshark. This species is very interesting, I would say just culturally, in terms of, like, how it was named. There's a lot of different kinds of lantern sharks in the world. I want to say there's, like, 20 plus species. So most of them, if not all of them, I think are in the genus Etmopterus. So there's quite a few of them. But this particular species was discovered in 2015. I guess before we take a look at... the authors actually have a video of it, which is really cool. Before we take a look, I just wanted to final shout out, like, Howard. Like, this looks really great, and I really love the detail on it, especially with, like, this really great eerie blue bioluminescence, and also really good detail on the spines. So the spines are, for lantern sharks, bioluminescent or semi-bioluminescent. So that's an awesome attention to detail. Um, the proportions look really great, like with the gill slits in relation to the pectoral fin. And we have a pearly lanternfish as a prey item for the species. So this is fantastic. Thank you so much for sending this. I think this is awesome. So thank you. This ninja and lantern shark is honored by this. So this is super cool. Thank you so much for sending. Let's dive into. We have only one clip of the actual species, which is really cool because the author, since this was such a recent discovery, the authors are conscious enough, and I think a lot of the media was conscious enough to talk about in detail. This is one of the authors, David Ebert, who is a very big name in sharks. He's been working with sharks for forever, so huge name in shark science. And he is the author of the Latin name Etmopterus benchleyi. This is Vicky Vasquez, co-author of this species. She is super cool, and I kind of like a master at outreach, I would say at this point, in terms of like she's a very big name. And you've probably seen her on Shark Week. Here is the lantern shark, like the Ninja Lanternshark, which they co-authored, and they're measuring the shark right now. Just in terms of like this is kind of how they determined that it was a different species. Like, I don't know if you've seen in like science books, like really, and actually sometimes on the stream, like really specific measurements, and you almost kind of wonder like, oh, why? Hold on, let me pause for a second. You almost want to wonder like why there's so many like such attention to like where's the proportion of like, you know, head length versus head width, or like, you know, fin height versus, you know, first dorsal fin versus second dorsal fin. And the reason why these are so important to record is that they can be identifiers for different species. Like the proportions can, if they're slightly different or different, if they're different, consistently different, it could indicate it's a different species, which is exactly what happened here. Like the proportions of this lantern shark were not the same with anything else. There was no other lantern shark that were quite like the Ninja Lanternshark. It was just completely unique as far as sharks or lantern sharks that have been discovered. So this was a new species, and they determined it initially by just like the measurements. So I paused at jaws because the Latin name Etmopterus benchleyi. Etmopterus is like the general lantern shark name, but benchleyi is named after Peter Benchley, and it's kind of a nice homage. Peter Benchley wrote Jaws, and it's like a thriller and like, you know, super mega popular, but he famously kind of regrets writing this book, you know, which was later turned into the movie, because Jaws directly had an impact on a lot of shark trophy hunting in the 70s and the 80s, and I think there was regret with that. And so Peter Benchley has turned into a shark conservationist, and that's a nice quote right there. I don't know if you can see that. Save the sharks and we could save the oceans, quote by Peter Benchley. And so it's really cool to see that David Ebert, who, again, huge name in shark science, kind of honored him and recognized Peter Benchley's efforts in terms of, like, kind of trying to turn things around, you know, by naming the Ninja Lanternshark a new species after him. So now what's really cool is, like, that's the backstory for the Latin name. For the English name, so this species... Vicky Vasquez organized like an online poll with students, and let's take a look at some of the names. So students actually came up with a lot of different names, and they did a poll for like which would be a good English name for the species. And honestly, like, as goofy as some of these names look, it's actually really cool that she did that, in a sense. Like, this is one of the many reasons why she's such a good outreach specialist and kind of like advocate for sharks in general, for like a new generation, is she does things like this. So but yeah, let's check out some of these name suggestions before I keep going. I just want to double check the comments and stuff. So, But we've got, and I'm really happy. I didn't know these names prior, so like I'm really happy I dressed up as Batman today because it looks like we're all on the same page. We got Batman Lanternshark, the Dark Knight Lanternshark, the Dark One Lanternshark, Clashing Jaws Lanternshark, Peculiar Jaws Lanternshark, Men in Black Lanternshark, the Ninja Lanternshark, the Super Ninja Lanternshark, the Raven Lanternshark, the Black Lanternshark, the Crystal Jawed Lanternshark, the Not So Bright Lanternshark, the Dim Lanternshark, and the Left Shark Lanternshark. Okay, yeah. So, so it's really funny. Like some of these names. What do you guys think about these names? Like, which of these are your favorites? Because if we're talking about like, so the winner is Ninja Lanternshark, of course. But if we're talking about like another one that could have maybe been a good name. As much as I would love to say Batman Lanternshark, I don't think it would have been a good name for a shark species. I think the Raven Lanternshark, as weird as it sounds, maybe the Dim Lanternshark. If the Dim Lanternshark refers to something about its biology, that might have been okay. I would say Raven Lanternshark would have been a good name too, or Dim Lanternshark. If that refers to something about its biology, because I see not so bright Lanternshark, so I'm wondering if there's something to do with like how it bioluminesces in comparison to other Lanternsharks. So Crystal Jawed Lanternshark might be a little too fancy and a little too like, that's a little all over the place. So for me, like, I really love the Ninja Lanternshark, but I think Raven and Dim Lanternshark might have been good alternatives. Let me check the comments. Yeah, Roy, Raven Lanternshark, Batman Lanternshark, Howard, Ninja Lanternshark, Crystal Jaw Lanternshark. That's so sweet. They're all super adorable. They really are. Like, it's funny seeing how many pop culture names there are. Like, Left Shark, I think that's the Katy Perry shark, like I forget what concert that was or what performance that was, but there was a shark that was not the meme of the shark not doing its job. So I think the left shark is Katy Perry. Batman and the Dark Knight, of course, are Batman references. Dark One, I don't know if there's a specific pop culture thing or if that like goes into other things. I don't really know exactly if that was referring to something specific. And then Men in Black, like the comics Men in Black. Super Ninja is really funny. What's actually funny is like now that we have a Ninja Lanternshark, if there was ever like a closely related species that's huge or like proportionally a lot bigger, Super Ninja Lanternshark would be really funny. So but these are really cool, and more importantly, this was a super cool thing for Vicky to do as far as like opening it up to kids. I just think that's really amazing, and I honestly think for like there's been a couple like dinosaur like fossil discoveries that have had a similar thing where I think there's a kid who discovered a new kind of raptor and was given the honor of naming it, and I think he named it Bambi Raptor, if I remember that correctly, or if there was like there was like a there was a raptor that I remember a kid named. I think it's Bambi Raptor, but I actually really love that in terms of like I kind of love like the idea of like new discoveries for certain species, just kind of opening up to kids or to like a poll, because like honestly, I mean, students of any age, but I especially think like middle school, high school, and college. I mean, they're really passionate about science, really, sincerely. Like a lot of students are super passionate about science and like are such a worthy audience, of course, just to kind of like participate actively, So this is super cool that Vicky did this, and I had no idea that was part of the reason, or really like I had no idea that's how this shark got its name, and I like that just makes it so much cooler to me. So I really love Ninja Lanternshark as a final name. So yeah, it's just super cool of her to do that. So if you haven't seen her, I know she has a YouTube channel, so please check her out. And she's on Shark Week quite a lot. And yeah, these are really the only video images of the actual species. It's a deep water species, so it's very difficult to get like living footage. I'm also kind of curious to learn as we continue tonight, like why this shark was so rare. In terms of like, yeah, this was discovered in 2015, so that was I can't do math right now. 8 years ago. So that's a pretty recent species. So it's going to be interesting as we dive in, like what contributed to this being sort of a rare shark. So see if we can observe anything. Got a pretty nice even row of teeth right here, and what's interesting is like all the tooth types look very similar, at least in this angle, because most of the jaws that we've seen usually have pretty significant tooth differentiation. I know that the cookie cutter shark last week, like, iconically has just a single row. Oh man, that freaked me out. Like a single row of sheddable teeth on the lower jaw. But it's interesting seeing for the lantern shark, single row of teeth. I'm assuming they are fixed, but we'll see what's going on. I just noticed, this was a little quick, but let me slow this down a little bit. The spines, so proportionally to the body, the spines are pretty big on this species. So it's kind of cool to see there's the first dorsal spine right here, and it's actually looks like it reaches the height of the dorsal fin. Same with the second dorsal spine. The second dorsal spine is larger than the first, and it also reaches the height of the dorsal fin, of the second dorsal fin. And what's really cool is that if these spines, or as these spines are bioluminescent, because usually I feel like with dogfish, the spines don't really get as high as the dorsal fins, but maybe that's a way for the shark to attract prey. I don't know. It's pretty cool how big they are. Another thing I'm noticing, I think there's a better angle, but just as a shout out to Howard. You really nailed it with like just like the anatomy. Like, see how the gills are like right in front of the pectoral fins. So I just wanted to do a quick shout out like for your artwork. That's really cool to see that line up. Just like those gills being right in front of like the small pectoral fins, and then just kind of like seeing that in the footage. So it's super cool. Another interesting thing you can tell just in the clip, I mean, it's an all black body with preserved sharks. That's not a super common color. Sometimes the color will just fade to like a weird brown or just like, very pale gray. But this species distinctly has like really dark skin, which is kind of cool to see. Just like very, very dark black pigmentation. So in life, it probably is an even deeper color because this is probably affected by, preservatives and damage. Sorry, kid. I don't know what the kid is doing. Nice close up of the jaws right here. Oh, there's something cool you can see. So the top row of teeth, and we'll probably get better pictures as we kind of go along, but the top row of teeth are a bit more pointed, and then the bottom row of teeth are more like a comb or more like kind of recurved blades, and this looks a lot like pike dogfish or other dogfish teeth, just kind of like a nice belt of recurved blades. So that's actually really cool to see. So I'm assuming that the top jaw lunges down onto something and holds onto something, and then the bottom jaw kind of like tears away, so the shark probably bites something and then wriggles to kind of tear a chunk of whatever the prey item is my guess with that. So pretty cool to see. So, and I think that's really it for the actual species, like this as far as video goes, because it's a brand new species and it's a deep water species. So hold on. Let's see, and let me catch up on the comments as well. So yeah, that's a good point, Howard. Having kids name the shark makes it relatable to the next generation, for sure, for sure. Like I mean, again, science is so like, I think it's true that like just like science is like so inaccessible in terms of just like there's so many barriers, like as far as like trying to make science entertaining or trying to make science, just like understandable and relatable to kids. And this whole project of like having kids name the species, I just think is super super cool. So that's a really good point. Just in terms of like, kind of connecting. This is like naming a new species is a really important process, but like connecting that with a new generation is like really really awesome. So shout out to Vicky Vasquez for doing that and for just kind of like being mindful about that. So super super cool. So there's a couple other clips. These are not the Ninja Lanternshark, but I think they're probably good to see just in terms of like how lantern sharks work in general. So I think this is the southern lantern shark. So this is a different species, but it's kind of a nice view of kind of seeing how like lantern sharks can get fairly sizable. And in the clip, I believe this is a researcher talking about bioluminescence on the spines as well. You can notice huge eyes, huge reflective eyes as the shark swims through the deep. That's actually a nice clip of a lantern shark, a live lantern shark. So in shallower water. That's actually really cool to see. Again, it's not a Ninja Lanternshark, but it is a cousin of tonight's species. Let's see. This is like a 3D CGI model, but it does show the bioluminescence happening in the spines as well as different parts of the body. So our Ninja Lanternshark probably similar as far as its biology. And look at that. That's actually a really cool CGI like representation of what the bioluminescence can be used for. In this case, it could be used for counter shading. So for example, if there's deep water sharks that come near the surface at night, and if it's like a moonlit night, it would still blend in with like the moonlit like water. So anything looking above can't really tell the shark from like the surface. So that's a pretty cool potential function of bioluminescence with the species. And we're not going to look at an ad. No ads. I don't like ads. And then here's one more clip of, it's again not our species but a different kind of lantern shark, but this is a cool shot of a lantern shark in the deep, so in its natural habitat. And we'll slow that down. But for me personally, I love seeing deep water shark clips because when I was growing up, like it wasn't something, I mean, you never heard of like, deep water shark footage. It was like the rarest thing possible. And then now, just with technology improving, it's becoming much more accessible. And so it's really a wondrous thing to just kind of see, these images, pop up more and more frequently. So yeah, that's a lantern shark. This is a nice reprieve from last week's cookie cutter shark. Lantern sharks are kind of cute. It's nice to have like a shark that, it's got a cool Halloween vibe going, but it's kind of cute. It's got a big little nose and big eyes, and it's not a horrifying cookie cutter shark. So so far this is a good group of sharks. Rounded fins, it's pretty adorable. So, but yeah, with that, let's check out some comments. Good call. The jaws are discolored from formaldehyde. Mm-hmm. That like any preservative chemicals, by the way, those just like, I used to work with a lot of those, and it's just like this. Like whenever they show collection footage, it's like I can smell it. It's just like those are memories. So, Roy has similar jaw structure as many sleeper sharks. That's a good point. That's a really good observation, actually. And it's really cool to see that in terms of just like they're all squaliforms. They're all kind of cousins in some way, and it's kind of cool to see like conservative morphology or certain aspects of morphology conserved even in different groups. So yeah, super cool. It's a super cool group of species. It's also kind of fun that squaliforms are just for the most part deep water sharks. One kind of thing actually, we'll watch this clip, but I do want to kind of show something kind of interesting with our channel really quick. Hold on. Because I'm starting to organize our live streams by taxon. So I'm making these like playlists. No, I'm not. Hold on. Homepage. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Okay. So I'm making these playlists based on order, and it's actually really cool to see, like, even from the thumbnails, you're starting to see some kind of like you get kind of a vibe or like a pattern of the different orders. So you got carchariniforms. These are like, smooth, classic-looking sharks, right? Just like sandbar sharks, taupe sharks, spear-tooth sharks, even the hammerheads. These are kind of your iconic, sharks that we're kind of used to, right? You got the lambdaforms, which are, beefier, a little like freakier, like tougher-looking sharks. We haven't done the great white yet, but we've done a lot of its cousins, like the mako shark, sand tigers, goblin sharks. You got the Orlectolobiforms, which are the carpet sharks, which are like kind of like more colorful. The mouth is in front of the eyes. They kind of have more of like a I want to say like a squarer looking appearance, like smoother, squarer, more colorful. And then finally, you've got these squaliform sharks, and most of these look creepy. like they're deep water sharks. Like they don't have an anal fin like most shallow water sharks. When you look at the thumbnail, they're like all creepy, mysterious, like just kind of hard to reach. Like it's interesting seeing, like, as we keep doing streams and as we keep adding sharks to the different orders, and keep covering more and more species and kind of adding to the biodiversity. It's actually really cool to see patterns across the orders, and it's a nice little quick and dirty like rundown of you can see why these are all in their own order. Like you can see that a squaliform vibe is very different from an Orlectolobiform vibe, is very different from a lambdaform vibe, is very different from a carchariniform vibe. Like it's actually really, really cool to be breaking these down. So I just wanted to do, it's kind of a shameless plug, but it's also at the same time like I just wanted to take a look at it because I just think it's really cool. Like something I've been noticing as we keep doing these streams and as I keep organizing them into their respective orders, you can see patterns of morphology. And squaliforms, they're like the creepy deep water alien sharks, including our wonderful lantern shark. So it's kind of cool to see. But anyway, so with that, let's dive into something unique about tonight. Is because this is a brand new species, there's not a lot of research, and we actually might be able to see kind of like the evolution of research. So right in the top tabs here, I think after, because I think these tabs right here are articles. We've got the IUCN Red List and the fish-based profile, as well as shark references. But after the shark references link, all along here, this is basically the sum of all publicly available research right here. So we actually might be able to cover everything tonight and kind of like, have a really comprehensive view of the science behind the species, which I think is really cool. So let's check out some press releases though, because I know this made a lot of waves when it came out. So yeah. Also, random question: does anybody have a favorite Batman movie? I'm just out of curiosity, and I'm going to type my favorites in the comments. I'm not gonna lie, Dark Knight Rises is sneaking up on me. Like I used to be Dark Knight, but I'm kind of like Dark Knight Rises, as squirrely as it is. I don't know. It's kind of starting to get a fond place in my heart. Spine dogfish are the only squaliforms that are kind of cute. that's a good point, Roy, because it's like spine dogfish are interesting in that they're one of the only squaliforms that enters shallow water. Squaliforms is a predominantly deep water group, and so it's actually kind of funny, for a shark to enter shallow water and maybe be more adapted to that environment, it probably looks more familiar and, more approachable than sharks of the abyss. So It's kind of funny. The comet seems innocent enough, but it actually might be kind of like a telling observation in terms of like how different environments impact the morphology of a species. Whereas like shallow water environments, sharks are getting a lot of sunlight, and that have to be active and fast. Like they might look a certain way that we're more familiar with, and then sharks that are in the darkness like look creepier and eerier and like yeah. I don't know. It's kind of cool to think about. So. But here's a nice view of, and I think these are clips of the diagnostic photos of this species, like the main photos that were submitted in the research of, or like in the species description of the Ninja Lanternshark. So here we go. One thing that's kind of interesting is seeing how large the spiracles are in relation to the body right here. Their positioning is interesting too because you could definitely see. I mean, part of it might be just how damaged the specimen is since it's a deep water species, and if you're laying it down on a table for different photographs. Like in this angle, it looks like the spiracles are on the top of the head. In this angle, they definitely look like they're on the side of the head. So I don't know how much of that is like being compressed as the shark is like being laid down for photographs. So, but it would be interesting. Just like the position of the spiracles is kind of interesting to note in terms of, you know, is there if it does have that kind of like view that's like dorsal facing view. Is there a particular reason for that? So let's see. So this is Science Magazine, Science Societies. We'll just breeze through this really quick. Scientists believe the animals, which can grow to about half a meter in length, use... Okay. Let me rephrase that. Sorry. Vasquez explained to the kids that the shark uses photophores in its skin to produce a faint glow in the deep, dark ocean. Scientists believe the animals, which can grow to about half a meter in length, use this cloaking ability to blend in with the limited light penetrating into the ocean's depths and appear invisible from below. This helps the shark sneak up on small fish and shrimp while also avoiding becoming lunch for larger predators. The super stealth, combined with the animal's sleek black appearance, led the kids to suggest naming it the Super Ninja Shark. Vasquez said she didn't think her colleagues would quite go for that, so she got them to scale back the name a little bit. Yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, okay, so that's kind of cool. Nice way to explain it in terms of the bioluminescence could be helpful for predation as well. Let's see. This is a nice quote. About 20% of all shark species have been discovered in just the last 10 years, which is amazing. My whole research is looking for lost sharks. This is quoted from David Ebert. Again, huge name in shark science. But yeah, 20% of shark species discovered in the last 10 years. A lot of reasons why, and we've already covered a lot of those reasons, but technology is getting better as far as like being able to go further and deeper, and there's more research out there, which is great. But then also genetics. Our understanding of genetics is better, and we're starting to realize that there's species hiding in plain sight. So famously, hammerhead sharks, like scalped hammerheads, there's the Carolina hammerhead, which I keep talking about. There's been a couple species. I think when we were talking about the sicklefin lemon shark, there's been speculation that's multiple species. Bull sharks have been speculated to be multiple species. So here's a really cool drawing from, let's see, Animating the Sea, Motion, Light, and Eyes, the Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington. So this is a really beautiful, it's very stylistic, but it's a beautiful artistic rendering of the species. Let's see what we got. Talks about bioluminescence in general. And these are more like press releases, so I'm just gonna kind of like briefly go through these. So, yeah, not too much information from there, because again, we'll be able to kind of cover more of the research tonight. So, this is interesting. So, it's an interesting little quote because lantern sharks, even though most of them are in the genus Etmopterus, there are clades, like different subgroupings. So this species is distinct from other members of the Etmopterus spinax clade in having dense concentrations of dermal denticles closely surrounding the eyes and gill openings. So apparently around the gill openings in the eyes is a denser concentration of denticles as an identifying feature, which is interesting. So this is cool. This species was described from 8 specimens collected off the Pacific coast of Central America during an expedition of the Spanish research ship Miguel Oliver by D. Ross Robertson, a researcher at the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute. 1 holotype and 4 paratypes were described and deposited within the United States Museum of Natural History, Smithsonian Institution, Washington, D.C. That's really cool. So I'm actually not too far away from these guys. That's kind of fun. Let's see. Depth range is from 836 to 1443 meters, which is really cool. So that's hovering around between the twilight zone and the midnight zone. So very deep water species. And I know this is kind of riffing off of Wikipedia, but we'll probably be able to verify all this with the actual research. So we're just getting quick glimpses from different press releases. Let's see. Oh, sorry, catching up on comments. Roy, Dark Knight's favorite for me as well. Yep. Dark Knight, arguably the best one. Latest Joker movie. I've heard a lot about the Joker. I have not seen Joker movie, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've heard it's very dark. But I'm a little shy of watching it, but like, I should probably see it because I've heard it's very good, and it did really well too. Like the Joker movie was like a huge, like kind of surprise hit actually. So I gotta check that out, Howard. I love the deep sea world as a fantastically alien fauna. Same, honestly. Like it's really cool that I love starting out with like shallow water sharks and kind of learning more about them, but as I get more comfortable and more familiar, it's cool to go deeper and deeper and go into like less and less charted territory. Especially since like that habitat is so enormous. Excuse me. I mean, we're still discovering things in like coral reef environments, and we're still discovering things in shallow water environments. I mean, the ocean is truly the last. It truly is like the last frontier. I feel like I know they you say space is the last frontier, blah blah blah, but like as far as biology and life and like I don't know, the ocean is just like there's still so much to see. I really don't think people understand how like incomprehensibly enormous the ocean is in terms of like what is in there, and so it's really cool to see like I would say even more so from like an invertebrate perspective, just like what in the world is in like the deep sea. So museum collections are full of undiscovered wonders. Yes, good point. Especially for like fossil collections too. But even not fossils, even like fisheries collections that have like there are quite a few collections that have fish that we don't really know what they are yet, but like they're collected, and they make for good research projects in terms of like trying to identify them or trying to like re-examine them. Famously, or maybe not famously, like I remember the bull shark. The first individual of the bull shark, the individual was damaged, and so like it was inappropriately bleached white, and that's why it's got its name its scientific name Carcharodontus lucus, lucus meaning white. And then someone went back and realized, oh, that's not the natural color of the species. It's actually a gray shark. It's just collection damage. But the point being is like there's like errors in collections or like errors in like misreading collections. So there's always like opportunity, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is that like it's kind of cool that you can go into a museum and like, you know, research it and like kind of dive in to see if you can find something new as far as like fisheries goes, or like fossils. So even NASA understands if you're trying to predict alien life, you're best to look to the sea, especially the abyss. Good point. Because it's such an extreme... That's a really good point, Howard, because like it's such an extreme environment. Like, I mean, for an organism to like withstand that kind of pressure, or like in hydrothermal vents, like the kind of extreme temperatures, or just the chemistry of it all, where it's like those are super crazy toxic environments for most organisms. Extreme... I forget what the word is. Like there's certain organisms that live in extreme environments, like and I think archaea. Do I have that right? It's a very tiny. It's a group of like microscopic organisms, single cell organisms that live in insane environments. Because I'm pretty sure they live in like. It's not bacteria. It's its own thing. I'm sorry, I'm going off the rails a little bit. Yeah, okay, the first observed archaea were extremophiles. That was the word I was looking for. So there's animals called, or it's not animals, sorry. There's organisms called extremophiles, which are organisms that live in insane conditions. So, like, I'm pretty sure there's some things that live in, like, volcanoes. I'm just quickly checking my phone. Astrobiology, so I think that kind of refers to like, is there life on Mars, is there life in Antarctica, or I mean not Antarctica, but just extreme environments. Sorry, I'm going off the rails. It's a shark stream. I can't go off the rails too much, but like the point being is like it's amazing like how tolerant life is and like how widespread life is. So, and actually let me just like type this here. I don't think any shark would qualify as an extremophile, but these are organisms that live in insane environments, so I'm just going to leave that term in the chat. If anybody is interested in looking up in the future, I don't know if I spelled that right, but these are organisms that live in truly extreme environments. And it's a whole cool field of study in itself. Most of them are microscopic, if not all of them, but it's kind of a cool field of study, so... But, let's see, what is this? This is, Capstone Project Master Thesis from 2021. Oh, Moss Landing Marine Laboratories. Moss Landing is actually a really... Oh, this is Vicky Vasquez. Sorry. Okay. Alright. Abstract. A new species of lantern shark, Etmopterus benchleyi, is described from 8 specimens collected off the Pacific coast of Central America at depths ranging between 836 and 1443 meters. The new species is placed in the Etmopterus spinax clade by a lack of flank markings and the moderately short, slender, hook-like conical dermal denticles distributed over the body. It can be distinguished from its closest congeners based on the combination of coloration, proportional body measurements, meristic counts, arrangement of dermal denticles, and size at maturity. So that's really cool. So this is, I'm assuming this is like the submission for like why this is its own species. And it's cool seeing this list of like, okay, what makes the Ninja Lanternshark the Ninja Lanternshark? So, the dorsal fins of the new species are either similar in size, or the second dorsal fin is slightly larger than the first, versus the second dorsal fin is distinctly larger than the first in Etmopterus granulosus, Etmopterus princeps, and Etmopterus litinovi. So, granulosus and princeps are pretty big lantern shark species. I have not heard of Litvinovi. Let me check out what those are actually. So granulosus is a southern lantern shark, which is the one that we saw a clip of, like the big one that the fisherman was holding up. Princeps is the great lantern shark, very, very famous species. And then Litinovi is a small eye lantern shark, which I have not heard of. So I wonder if that's a less common species as well. Let's see. These are more specific measurements in terms of like how you could distinguish the Ninja Lanternshark, Etmopterus benchleyi, from the other species. Photophores in Etmopterus benchleyi are sparse compared to other Etmopterids and difficult to identify due to its uniform black color. Interesting. So that's actually really cool that the species color is actually a little bit more distinctive and a little bit more unique. So like the darkness, like that's actually really, really cool that that's something that actually might be kind of unique to the species. So that actually even makes the name Ninja Lanternshark even better. So super, super cool. This new species is also distinct from other members of the Etmopterus spinax, clad in having dense concentrations of dermal denticles closely surrounding the eyes and gill openings. Etmopterus benchleyi is the only Etmopterus species presently known from the Pacific coast of Central America. Interesting. Okay, so there's actually quite a few things that make this a distinct species. So that's actually pretty cool. Very, very cool. Oh my gosh. So, Howard, stromatolites are among the most ancient of life. I have a fossil from 3.8 billion years ago. Wow, that's actually amazing. That's actually mind-blowing. That's crazy, actually. Sorry, I laughed because I saw Roy's comment, are koi extremophiles, which I'm assuming, do you mean like the koi fish? Like, I would not count koi as extremophiles. I'm assuming, what I mean, like, I will say, I would not count koi as extremophiles. I think you're joking, but just in case you're not, I will say koi and carp and things of that group, they're very, very tolerant. They're actually kind of crazy tolerant groups of fish. Killifish, which are not they're not the same group, but there are fish that are actually kind of like ridiculous in terms of how tolerant they are. Betas are very tolerant, so I wouldn't call them extremophiles, but I will say koi are pretty tolerant. So, yeah, it's just like at first, like my first image of a koi was like the fancy. My first image was like a fancy pampered fish, but then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh wait a minute, yeah, no, koi are actually really tough, like because they can range like limited habitat, high seasonality, wide temperature range. So that's actually, yeah, you know, I would not call it an extremophile, but I'm sorry, Roy. Yeah, I just saw your comment. I wasn't. I'm sorry. So yeah, like yeah, because like at first I was just thinking of fancy koi, but the more I think about it, it's like, yeah, there is a point that they do have a much higher tolerance than most fish. So it would not qualify as an extremophile because it would, like, an extremophile would be something that like literally lives in a volcano, or like is in an extreme like a hypersailing environment, like or like a hydrothermal vent. Let's look that up actually. Hold on. And I just want to get back to stromatolites. Like, Howard, that's really amazing. Just like 3.8 billion years ago is just freaking me out because it's like, isn't Earth like 4.3 billion years? Like, let's look up. Hold on. Oh, there we go. We got, actually a fun trivia question. Do you guys know what this is? I was about to say it, but, this is a real animal or, I don't know if it's an animal, but this is a real creature, by the way. This thing right here. This is the world we live in. This actually exists. Do you know what this is? And also, my apologies, Roy. Because like I was thinking of like the fancy fish, but like koi is actually a really big group, and like carp, it's a kind of carp if I'm not mistaken, and like carp are actually really tough. So my apologies. Like they're actually that's actually a really tough group of fish. Um, Stromatolites is called Ishwa greenstone. Interesting. I'll leave this picture up for a few seconds, but this is real. This thing is real. It looks like a creepy alien, but that's actually a really beautiful microscopic image right there. Like it's a colorized image, and the colors are probably like slash almost definitely false. Like I don't think that's what it looks like. But these are as far as coloration goes. But it's just so tiny that. All right, so this I didn't realize this qualifies as extreme file. So this is called a water bear, also known as a tardigrade. So these are microscopic creatures that kind of live everywhere, if I'm not mistaken. We'll look that up in a little bit. Let's check out the list of extremophiles. Okay. So first, an extremophile has to live in an extreme environment on Earth, so it would be sea ice. Here we go. This is actually really cool. I'm glad that they have this graph. So we got sea ice, cold seeps and mud volcanoes, shallow water hydrothermal vents, hot springs like Yellowstone, hyperacidic lakes and volcanoes, deserts and arid environments. Oh, interesting. Okay. Acid mine drainage, ophiolites and continental serpentinization. I haven't heard of that actually. Nuclear contaminated sites. Interesting. Soda lakes and hypersaline lakes. Marine and continental subsurface. Deep sea sediments and trenches. Oh my gosh, what is this? Serpentinizing environments. Deep sea hydrothermal vents, and then deep sea anoxic lakes and brines. So and honestly, let's on a serious note, let's actually do a quick shout out to koi really quick, because I feel bad. I was kind of laughing, but I really shouldn't have been, because like I really do want to check out like if they have a. Okay, here we go. Health, maintenance, longevity. Carp, which is koi. Hardy fish, retain durability. Koi are cold water fish, but benefit from being kept in the 59 to 77 degree range. Do not react well to low, long cold winter temperature. I know that these guys are tough. Koi have been reported to achieve ages of 100 to 200 years. One famous scarlet koi named Hanako Hanako is 226 years old. Koi are very hardy. With proper care, they resist many of the parasites that affect more sensitive tropical fish species. So yes, sorry, shout out to koi. Roy, it's a good call that it is a very tough fish. And the family Cyprinidae, which include koi, also have carps, and carps are actually really widely invasive species because they are so tough and so hardy and so ready to colonize a lot of different environments. Like if a carp is introduced into an environment, actually carp in North America, a lot of carp species in North America are causing a lot of like ecological damage because they shouldn't be here, but they're here. Even goldfish. You really shouldn't release goldfish into the wild because it's the same thing. Like these are really tough, like dominant animals in their respective environments, and they will outcompete local wildlife. So, and one more thing, I do want to beta fish. I want to see if betas are cyprinids as well. They're not. Okay. Betas are really tough. It's not the same family. I was just kind of curious about that. But anyway, sorry about it. Shout out to Cyprinidae, which includes koi. Cyprinids are actually extremely tough fish, so my apologies about that. So, also, really good call. I just saw your comment. All I know they're called water bears. Good. Yeah, you got it right. So very cool. Before I get back to extremophiles, Howard, bull shark in Lake Michigan. So, I'm gonna assume that is a hoax, but let's look that up. Because there's a couple reasons why. Is it... No. Okay, hold on. Let's check this one really quick. And that's just really ridiculous. Gray whites in the Great Lakes, bull shark, blah blah blah. Gray lakes could be found in God's blah 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 blah. Like there's not yeah. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because it's just not really possible, but no shark reports have been scientifically documented in the lake. The Illinois River has seen one documented case. We'll get to that in a little bit. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Was this really, really recent? Because it's like bull shark's not been found in the Great Lakes. So here's the thing, like, so bull sharks in the Great Lakes has been a really popular like urban myth, you know, like because you know bull sharks are fresh, like can enter fresh water, but the thing is with the Great Lakes is like the access point has to be through the Gulf of St. Lawrence, so that is an extremely cold environment, and that's too far north for a bull shark. Like it's just like bull sharks do not. Not sure. Saw it online. Was curious your opinion. Gotcha. So yeah, so years ago there was a popular story of a bull shark in the Great Lakes, and it was bunked or debunked. It was a bunk story, because like the thing is, in order to get to the Great Lakes, the bull shark would have to go through the Gulf of St. Lawrence, and then the St. Lawrence River, which is just like it's too cold. There's no way it can do it, because the northern limit of a bull shark is maybe Massachusetts, like if you're lucky, because it's such a shark. It's such a warm water shark, or a shark that needs warm water. Could it be dumped by an aquarist? So that's an interesting question. It's kind of a cool thought experiment. So firstly, a bull shark has to physiologically adjust to a freshwater environment. So in order to pull this off, it would have to be like, say there was a crazy aquarist in Michigan who had this really enormous tank, like a saltwater tank, with bull sharks, and then slowly but surely that aquarist started to make the tank more and more fresh, and it got it to a point where it was pure fresh water. Like, even if an aquarist could do that and adjust the bull shark's physiology where the bull shark was okay with the fresh water, which is really risky. I mean, because it's like, you know, bull sharks can enter fresh water, but it doesn't mean they love to do it all the time, and it really depends on where in the world they are. Like, for example, in the Chesapeake Bay, they don't really go up that far. Like, they'll go to like brackish water, but they've never really been found in fresh water. They prefer to be kind of closer to like the mouth of the Potomac River, or like kind of like the middle of the bay near like Kent Island. They don't really go further upriver than that. In Nicaragua, they love freshwater. Like the Lake Nicaragua shark is very famous. Like it's a bull shark, but it's very famous as a freshwater environment. The bull sharks spend a long time in. But that's also a tropical environment. So if we had a crazy aquarist in Michigan who like kept a bull shark for a very long time, he would still have to get the water temperature warm enough. And, it's kind of a gamble that even if you slowly change the shark's physiology where it's like it became adapted to fresh water, that's kind of a gamble if you can successfully do that. Because it's like in most parts of the world, bull sharks are primarily marine species that can enter fresh water, but they have to exit it at some point. So, because it's usually like a seasonal species, and they enter freshwater seasonally or occasionally, but it's a gamble. So, but say you succeed. Say you're a freshwater aquarist in Michigan who or a crazy aquarist in Michigan who makes a freshwater tank for bull sharks, and you win. Like you succeed in doing that. If you dump it into the lake, it's still a different environment that the shark may or may not be okay with. And bull sharks are very, very tough, so they could maybe last for a little while. But the biggest problem comes with the winter, where it's like the water temperature in the Great Lakes is going to be freaking cold. And bull sharks need to have a minimum temperature range of about 20 degrees Celsius. So it's like, if you get below that temperature range for an extended period of time, it's going to freeze out and die. So it could be dumped in the summer. Like if you were a crazy aquarist who really wanted to do this, you could theoretically get the shark down to 0 parts per thousand and make it fresh water, and then dump it into the Great Lakes for God knows why. And it could theoretically maybe make it, and I would not be worried about prey items. Like it probably would be okay as far as prey, but it's gonna die in the winter, and even in the fall, it's just like the water temperature is gonna be too cold. So really, it's just it's a long shot. It's a fun thought experiment though, but it's a long shot. So sorry, that was really long-winded, but I kind of that was kind of like a fun thought experiment actually. So I guess point being, ultimately, all bull shark rumors in the Great Lakes are hoaxes. And same with I just saw in that last article, great white shark rumor, and it's it has to go through the Gulf. Like great whites live in the Gulf of St. Lawrence, but then the great white has to go through the St. Lawrence River, and it's no, it can't do that. It needs full seawater. It can't go into fresh water. So yeah, any shark in a Great Lake is a hoax. It's just too cold and too removed from the ocean that it's just there's no sharks in the Great Lakes. However, there is a documented record of a bull shark going up the Mississippi River far enough to Illinois, and this is southern Illinois, but that is a verifiable record. So bull sharks have been found in Illinois, but it's the southern part of Illinois. But that one is legit, so that one checks out, and it kind of makes sense because again, it's going through the Gulf of Mexico, it's traveling up the Mississippi. The Mississippi is an enormous river, and the shark has time to adapt to that environment and time to adapt to the fresh water. And it's in the summer that it's doing this, so the water's warm. Goes to Illinois, does what it does in Illinois, goes back down the Mississippi, back to the Gulf of Mexico before winter sets in. So that one is real. The Illinois story is real, but the Great Lakes stories are not. So, but thank you for asking though, because that is a really cool question. It's fun to think about. So it's actually kind of handy to go through a lot of. There's a lot of fake shark junk everywhere, and it's kind of cool to break it down by biology in terms of what is theoretically possible, what, based on what we know about certain species, what can they do, and what's theoretically in the realm of possibility. So let's see, so thank you for bringing that up. That's actually a really cool question. Back to extremophiles, because this is a pretty interesting subject. Let's see. I'd like to see examples really quick, and we'll get back to the Ninja Lanternshark. Oh, here we go. So most of these are... this is Archaea. So that term archaea, it's actually really really cool that it's a domain, right? There's like you know how there's like the animal kingdom. There's a level higher than kingdom that I believe it's domain. Um, Sorry, I got to go into this now because it's gonna kill me. Okay, domain. Yeah, domain. So so there's three main domains of life. There's archaea or archaea, which are these crazy extremophiles. Bacteria, which I guess some bacteria are also extremophiles technically, but bacteria and archaea are fundamentally different, and I forget what makes them different. And then finally, eukarya, which includes most of the life that we know, including ourselves. So eukarya are cells with a nucleus, or organisms with cells that have a nucleus in it. So these are animals, plants, fungi. Most of what we know and most of what's observable to the naked eye is in the domain of eukarya. So, but fun biology fact. Let's see. Just want to see yeast, bacteria. I just want to see if there's anything that's like an animal, out of curiosity, as far as an extremophile. Bacteria. Because extremophile is such a cool concept and such a cool term, but there really isn't like cans. Algae. Okay, so that's something. So this is an algae that likes high salty environments. Bacteria. Nematode. Okay, that's an animal. You can't really see it, but okay, there's a nematode that lives in gold mines. So there we go. That's actually kind of cool. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, extremophiles are really cool. Again, most of them are microscopic, but there is one extremophile, if it existed, Charmander would totally qualify as an extremophile, just being able to live in volcanoes. In fact, Charizard. Where's Charizard? Charizard. This is a good example of an extremophile that would be an animal. So, shout out to Charizard. Anyway, let's get back to our shark. But yeah, it's a cool concept, and it's actually kind of amazing that like Ninja Lanternsharks, they do live in extreme environments, in the deep sea, but even that is not like pushing it far enough as far as like what an extremophile really is. So it's kind of cool. But let's see. I think since we're already at 10, I'm probably X out of the press releases, and we'll take a look at the actual research. Yeah, these are pretty much more of the same. So let's check out IUCN Red List really quick. So the Ninja Lanternshark is least concern, so it seems to be doing okay. It's probably because it's just such a deep water species, and if it's discovered so recently, it probably is really just like not something that we run into. So here is the range, and some of this may be theoretical, but it's actually kind of cool to see. So Nicaragua to Panama, and right kind of on the shelf break, which is kind of cool. Let's check out. Let's see. Justification. Ninja Lanternshark is a poorly known small shark. It occurs in a mid-continental slope at depths of 836 to 1443 meters. It is known from only a limited number of specimens which have been caught on scientific surveys. Given its deep occurrence, the species occurs beyond any deep water fisheries, as therefore has considerable refuge at depth, which is so cool. Although the population trend is unknown for the Ninja Lanternshark, it is suspected to be stable based on a lack of threats within its range. Therefore, there's nothing to infer or suspect population reduction at this time, and the species is assessed as least concern. So, I feel like we've had a lot of species that have not been doing well lately, so it's been really cool. It's really nice to see another shark that is safe from human activity, you know. And again, with the theme of the ninja, it's kind of cool that it's like its secrecy protects it. You know, silence is golden. So. I'm sure fish base does not have a lot on this species, but let's just check this out anyway. I do want to know what Etmopterus, the Latin name Etmopterus, comes from. So it comes from, Greek. Ethmos, which means sieve or ethmoid's bone. Petra means wing. So, sieve wing? So, I wonder if that's related to... I thought there was a clip that showed that lantern sharks kind of have like somewhat transparent fins, so I'm wondering if that's what that kind of refers to. I just want to check that really quick. I don't know if I'm making that up, or I thought I saw that the pectoral fins don't have pigmentation, so I was just kind of curious about that. But those look pretty pigmented to me. Yeah, that looks pretty dark, so never mind. I'm not sure where that Greek name sieve wing. I'm not really sure what that refers to. So, and then benchleyi, again named for Peter Benchley. So. Author of the movie Jaws, and subsequently an avid shark conservationist. So, let's see if there's any cool cliff notes from Fishbase. What would Ninja Lanternshark hunt for? That's a good question, Roy. I'm assuming probably like invertebrates, like small invertebrates in the deep. Maybe small fish. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Check this out. This is actually really cool. The larger individuals of this species were collected at greater depth than smaller specimens, suggesting a positive relationship between size and depth, as has been observed in Etmopterus princeps. So that's actually really cool. Like, bigger sharks are in deeper water. That's actually really cool. Let's see. No notes on what it might eat. So we could probably... We'll check sharkreferences.com really quick. Yeah, nothing on what it eats. So I think with that we could probably just dive right into the actual research, like the actual body of work that went into this species. And we can kind of see all of it. So... let's check it out. I think we have time to cover everything. So, starting with the very first description, this is from Victoria Vasquez, or Vicky Vasquez, and then David Ebert, and then Douglas Long. Etmopterus benchleyi, a new lantern shark from the central eastern Pacific Ocean. So this is, I believe, the paper, like the description of this species. So, and I think this abstract we kind of read already. Let's make sure there's nothing new from this. Yeah, this is, I think, the same one. Yeah, because I remember this quote. Photophores in Etmopterus benchleyi are sparse compared to the other Etmopterids and difficult to identify due to its uniform black color. Very cool. Dense. Yeah, okay, so this is the same abstract that we read, so let's kind of check out some cool notes from this first description of the species. The genus Etmopterus is one of the most species-rich genera of sharks with 37. Okay, 37 valid species to date. I didn't realize it was that high, so there's 37 lantern sharks. The genus has been subdivided into four major clades: Gracilospinus, Lucifer, Bacillus, and Spinax, based on the arrangement of dermal denticles, concentrated photophores, forming lateral flank and tail markings when present, and phylogenetic analysis based on molecular data. We've had 10 new species since 2002. Most of these new Etmopterus species were from the Indian and Western Pacific Ocean and Southern Africa. Records of Etmopterus species from Eastern Pacific Ocean are generally few and scattered, possibly 8 species occurring in the South Pacific Ocean, Chile, but no species confirmed for the central part of the Eastern Pacific Ocean. Recently, however, accepted by the Spanish research vessel Miguel Oliver off the Pacific coast of Central America in 2010, collected several Etmopterus specimens that appear distinct from all other known species of this genus and are described here as a new species. So this is extremely cool. So this expedition happened in 2010, which is when I started college, fun fact. And then the actual naming of the species occurred in 2015. So that's actually a year after I graduated, which is kind of fun. Yeah, I'm curious when the Shark Week special happened, because I know this new species, most new shark species don't get a lot of press, but this one probably, as far as new species are concerned, probably got the most amount of attention. I can't think of a new shark species that got more attention than the Ninja Lanternshark. And I think it's kind of partly due to the name. It's just such a iconic and cool name. So, but yeah, that's really cool. It's also a nice example of like how long it takes to kind of process that research and kind of make sure you have everything together. So 5 years since the discovery of the actual species and then the naming of it. So very cool. Oh, cool. Howard, good, cool comment. Sorry, just catching up on this. The lantern sharks eat prey with photophores to enable their ability to emit light, and the pearly lantern shark was native to the shark's range. That's really cool. Cool comment. I sincerely love, I know I've been saying this all year, but like I really love that like we all kind of do this together. Like it's just it's so cool that like these are literally study parties. Just like it's a lot of fun. Like I really like doing this. The holotype and 4 paratypes were measured, counted, and described, following other recent descriptions of Etmopterus species. All type specimens were deposited into the fish collection of the United States Natural Museum of Natural History, Smithsonian Institution, Washington, D.C. So, that's actually really awesome. If you guys ever visit DC, this is a beautiful museum, and I highly recommend it. And you might have been there before. Like, if you let me know in the comments if you've been to DC. But Natural History Museum is awesome. Very, very cool. My personal favorite place is Library of Congress. It has nothing to do with natural history, but I think the Library of Congress is actually a really beautiful building. So that's really fun to tour. But yeah, Natural History Museum has an amazing ocean exhibit, amazing collection of a lot of different, actually like an enormous collection of a lot of different things. But I think the ocean exhibit is pretty inspiring in the Natural History Museum, so I highly recommend it. It's cool that they have a great fish collection, but it's also kind of fun. They had a cool display, this was a couple years ago, of their fisheries collection. And I have to say, like, Virginia Institute of Marine Science in Gloucester Point, even though it's nowhere near as famous, like, I would say VIMS has a comparable collection, to be honest. Like, VIMS has a really, really cool collection, including some really rare things like a coelacanth. So there's actually a coelacanth in Virginia, which is really, really wild. It's a very rare fish to have. We also have, I remember we have a crocodile shark. What else we have? The gulper sharks. We do have a great white. What else do we have? Bull sharks. Trying to think of the rare things. I would say the coelacanth is probably the rarest thing I've seen at VIMS. So super cool. And the crocodile shark. I would say crocodile shark is actually kind of a rare thing to have too. So. No, this is so cool. So I love seeing like just the organization of like I don't know like different species. I don't know. This really gets me going. I just think this is the coolest thing. So yeah, this is the official photograph. That also really excites me a lot because like like in streams past we've had these like really cool and beautiful scientific drawings when species were first described, and like this is the equivalent of that. Like these are diagnostic photos. Like these are the submissions of like the official photos for the Ninja Lanternshark. Like this is kind of like your go-to in terms of like this is the true source of like what is this species. This is the holotype, so this is like the main species upon which the name Etmopterus benchleyi is placed. So very, very, very cool to see this. You know, it's actually really cool to live in a time of like discovering new species. I mean, like we've all lived in a time where new species are discovered because new species are discovered every year. But it's really cool to kind of like actually see this happening sort of in real time, you know, in terms of like, you know, this is not like an ancient record. This is a new species. This is, you know, the process is, you know, being applied to something new that we never knew before. So it's super, super cool. Oh, nice. Howard, I spoke several times with Robert Purdy. There is an associated Hemiprisoceras dentition from the Calvert Cliffs in the Smithsonian collection. That is awesome. That is super, super cool. Oh my gosh. I have to say too, there's two major museums, of natural history. So one is in DC and one is in New York. The New York Museum has an amazing collection as well. And last year they did a special exhibit on sharks. I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but yeah, both museums are just like phenomenal as far as that's concerned. So, but that's super, super cool. I've never been to Calvert Cliffs actually. Hilariously enough, like as much as I love fossil hunting, and I've been to a lot of places in Virginia for shark. I've even been to some places in Maryland for shark fossils, but I've never ever been to Calvert Cliffs. So we have to remedy that. I might do kind of. I don't know how to pull it off, but that could be a fun special actually. Just like a live. Actually, no. Let me rephrase that. That could be a fun video because like shark hunting takes a long time. Like shark tooth hunting takes a very long time. So. That could be a fun video, a highly edited, highly polished video. I might have to make that actually, a Calvert Cliffs adventure. So let's see. It's cool seeing like taking a look at this photo. I think there's a lot of things to point out with this species, but one cool thing that's catching my eye is this like string of. I'm assuming these are photophores right here. It's such a distinct looking line right here. I can't tell if those are photophores or raised dermal denticles. You can actually see pretty clearly. This must have been like a fresh specimen because you can see like the red in like the gills right there. These do look like photophores, I would say. Like these like dots right here. I'm gonna assume these are actually. I'm going to assume these are photophores right here. They just look too big to be dermal denticles. Kind of like on the other side, like kind of like beneath the jaw. kind of around the collar. I already talked about the spiracles. I think the shark actually has, this might sound strange, but I do think the shark has actually really beautiful eyes. Pretty huge, reflective. It's kind of a nice shot of the jaw protruding a little bit. And we already know that the tooth type is different, so we have like this nice comb of recurved teeth on the bottom, and then like kind of like straight teeth on the top. Let's see. Okay, this is more specific notes on just the things that make this shark unique. Strong disjunct diagnathic heterodontive. Upper teeth comprise of single medium cusps. Lower teeth with low distally inclined cusps, lack serrations. Oh, this is a different individual. Look at this. Oh, this is really cool. Look at this. Whoa. This is really cool. Look at this, guys. This is actually different. This is a different individual, but like, look how distinct those. These have to be photophores, right? Like, I mean, just like look how clear those look. Like, look how sharp that looks actually. On the underside of the snout, right there. That's really beautiful. I've never seen this photo before. I've seen that top one multiple times. I've never seen this one, so this is really, really cool. This is an immature male, and nice note, this is a fresh specimen, so... And look how blue it is! Just in terms of, like, you can see, like, in different areas in the body, this, like, bright blue, like, you know, kind of sheen poking out here and there. You know, like, right around the mouth. That is really cool. Like, you would almost think it would be, like, kind of like a weird, like, reflection thing from a photograph, but I think this is actually the shark's bioluminescence. So, if it's a fresh individual. So that is actually pretty amazing to see. Looking back at the top one, you can kind of see a little bit of the blue around the top jaw, and then the openings of the spiracles, and openings of the gills, and around the eyes as well. This is an adult female that's also a fresh specimen, but in this bottom photograph, the blue really comes out. So that's actually gorgeous looking. This is a really, really beautiful shark. Oh, thanks, Roy. I just saw your comment. Shark hunting video would be amazing. Thank you. That's super cool. Thank you. Man, yeah, these photos are beautiful, like, of the species. Let's see if there's more, because they talked about they had four individuals. And we'll get back to that in a second. Oh, this is nice. So this is actually a really, really good shot of the jaws. So like these pointy upper teeth, and then this recurved blade of lower teeth right here. You can actually see if the upper teeth, if I'm seeing that correctly, some of the, yeah, it's like like a tooth, like one main tooth with like these really tiny cusplets right here. From a distance, it looks like it's just like one blade, but it's actually really cool to see that it's like it kind of looks like a morph of a sand tiger tooth in a funny way, just like with the three cusplets. So, and even though these teeth are small, I mean, you can tell, you know, you do not want to be on the receiving end of that bite, especially like look how strong like the root is. You know, it is kind of like this kind of belt of like this works as like one saw, you know. So I'm sure like as the shark bites down on the prey, you know, and like twists its body, it's like it's definitely sawing into it. It's pretty wild looking. Um, I'll go back here and kind of like read through these notes. I just want to see if there's another picture really quick. Oh, oh, cool. So we won't do this, but there's apparently in this original description key to species of the genus Etmopterus in the Spinex class. So this is a dichotomous key. So you go through, you know, the questions and you know proceed to the next question based on your answer to the first question. So it's kind of like choose your own adventure. That's actually really cool that they made one, which includes the Ninja Lanternshark. So that's actually awesome. And it looks like there's no other pictures. So let's go back through the text to make sure we don't miss any really cool comments on this. So very, very cool. Okay. I think we went through the diagnostic stuff. Description. Let's see. More descriptions. This is kind of interesting. No adult males available to determine sexual dimorphism. So that's actually, there's not enough specimens to really maybe look into that, but that is kind of curious where, you know, they have immature males and adult females, but they don't have adult males. So it's kind of a cool question in terms of like, are they, you know, did they miss the adult male habitat? Because many sharks, famously dogfish sharks, you know, they have sexually segregated schools. So, you know, and like schools segregated by life stage too. So that'd be kind of interesting if maybe they collected from an area that had just juvenile males or adult females, but no adult males. But there's not enough information to go off of because like the collection is so small. But it's just kind of fun food for thought. So, talking more about the teeth. Dermal denticles. I'm just kind of scanning to see if there's like kind of inferences about the shark's biology, you know, in terms of like what could it be using some of its features for? What does it maybe eat? Oh, this is cool. Ampullae lorenzini conspicuous along dorsal head surface, forming parallel longitudinal rows between spiracles. It's cool that they mentioned the ampullae lorenzini, which are like the organs that sense electromagnetic fields in the environment. It's cool that they say they're conspicuous because in these beautiful photos, they're talking about like the dorsal view. So I'm assuming like right here. Let me zoom in on that. You can see, yeah, these really distinct dots right here are like the openings of the pores for the ampullae lorenzini. But intermixed with, I'm assuming these are photophores, like these bright blue dots. But that's cool that they mentioned that. So, sorry. I lost my place. Where are we? We were back. What happened? There we go. Okay, sorry, found my place again. Okay. Coloration, which I think is kind of interesting. Fresh specimens are uniform black, with no apparent flank markings or demarcated clusters of photophores. After preservation, head and body are uniformly dark brown to blackish brown with a cream colored pupil. Photophores are mostly indistinguishable. Interesting. Maximum size is at least 515 millimeters, so half a meter. So that is about. I have to do this for America. I'm sorry. The meters always confuse me because America. Meters of feet. What is that like? Hold on. Half a meter is about a foot and a half. So, gotcha. Okay. Sorry, I had to do it. You're welcome, America. I had to do it. So, that could be a fairly, a lap shark. Like it's a fairly sized shark. Anyway. Yep, we got... Oh, this is interesting. Etymology. So we know that the shark is named after Peter Benchley, but this is actually kind of cool. His legacy, the Benchley Awards, recognizes outstanding achievements in ocean conservation. In light of Mr. Benchley's outreach efforts, the privilege of deciding a common name for the species was bestowed upon 4 young shark enthusiasts ages 8 to 14 and relatives of the first author, Vicky Vasquez. The suggested common name, the Ninja Lanternshark, refers to uniform black coloration and reduced photophore complement used as concealment in the species, somewhat reminiscent of the typical outfit and stealthy behavior of a Japanese ninja. Interesting. So that was a cool little note. Prominent umbilical scars on the 2 smallest specimens confirm yolk sac viviparity, as is typical of the Etmopteridae. So that's pretty amazing. I believe last week with the cookie cutter shark, we were talking about how it was ovoviparous, and then now this is a viviparous group. And it's just kind of wild. It's the same order, but it just shows you just how crazy sharks are, like as far as like, reproductive modes are so different and they're so diverse, in sharks. It's pretty wild. Litter sizes apparently consist of at least 5 pups with postpartum lengths less than 177 millimeters. This is again really cool. Of the specimens examined and studied, larger individuals were collected at greater depths than smaller specimens. A positive relationship between size and depth has been observed in Etmopterus princeps. So I love that. I didn't know that about lantern sharks, that the deeper you go, the bigger they get. That's actually really cool. Okay, we're talking about how you distinguish a species. We won't really go into that. Again, I'm just trying to find more like fun notes or biology. But it's kind of cool that they go into detail in terms of like how you can tell this lantern shark apart from the other ones. And it's like it's a combination of subtle features. I do like this comment that Etmopterus princeps is only found in the North Atlantic Ocean. So when in doubt, always refer to like ranges for species. As far as trying to identify species, it's actually pretty cool that they did that here, where the Ninja Lanternshark is a Pacific species. So that's actually really awesome. But yeah. But checking out the dichotomous key, like kind of working backwards. Let's see what makes this its own thing. Because these are just like really quick descriptions. So the first and second dorsal fins similar in size. Second dorsal fin spine overhanging. Second dorsal fin apex. So it has a really big spine. And lateral flank markings absent. So those are the two things. Those are the two things that make it distinct from the other ones in this clade. So that's actually really cool. So yeah, I think this is a really solid core paper on this, frankly, really beautiful species. I mean, it's brand new, but like these are just stunning photographs of this shark. So, very, very cool. Yeah, crystal teeth. So yeah, good point, Howard. Because like one of the kids suggested the crystal tooth lantern shark, and at first I thought it wasn't really a good name, but then when you actually look at this photograph, it's like, you know what? I see what they're talking about. Like it's actually stunning. Like it's such a beautiful shark. And yes, I didn't know the size versus depth. Yes, it was like same here. That's a cool thing that I never even thought of. Um, and I don't know. I mean, the deep sea environment is so strange because, like, you would think, like, why would that be? Is it like maybe in deeper water there's more refuge from predators, or because I can't imagine there's more prey items, in deeper water. I could be wrong, but that's actually a really cool relationship. It's like size versus depth. As far as like these sharks get bigger the deeper you go. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to keep this image up because this is a gorgeous species. This is like these photographs, especially of the second individual. I've never seen these before, and it's completely gorgeous. Just like the coloration and like the bioluminescence shining through. So we're getting close to 11. So let's kind of breeze through the research that has happened on the species since. So let's see. This is a checklist of sharks, which I think includes the Ninja Lanternshark. So, da, 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 da. Oh, this sounds like some drama. Wait a minute, what is this? What is this? Sorry, reply to Borsa, comment on annotated checklist of living sharks, batoids, and chimeras of the world with focus on biogeographical diversity by Weigman. Hold on. I'm just curious about this. This is totally different. Weigman recently provided an annotated global checklist of chondrichthyans. As of November 2015, the number of valid species totaled 1,188, comprising 509 species of shark. That sounds slightly less than what the true total is, but still fine. In his comment on Weigman, Borsa, so this is a different scientist, criticized that both his nomenclature contributions, the description of a species, and the resurrection of a different species were not followed by Weigman. What is this? In general, annotated checklist does neither provide a suitable platform nor sufficient space for extensive discussion of taxonomic and nomenclature problems. And in remarks, Weigman tried to point out and clarify quite a number of taxonomic and nomenclatural issues. Many issues, however, have naturally remained unresolved, several of which are currently under investigation or will be subject to future research. A serious drawback of solely genetic-based descriptions of new or resurrections of synonymized species is that they do not allow field identification or determination of museum specimens fixed with or stored in formalin. Although recent research has made progress in the sequence of formalin-fixed samples, it is still time-consuming, expensive, and difficult, as formalin can induce DNA-protein cross-linkages, DNA fragmentation, and nucleotide alteration. Therefore, few attempts to obtain and sequence DNA from formalin-fixed specimens have been successful. Nevertheless, robust genetic analysis provide a valuable addition to classic morphological taxonomy, and the combination of genetic and morphological skeletal results, incorporating morphometric and heuristic evidence, should be considered ideal. Interesting. Sorry, this is barely related to our Ninja Lanternshark, but it sounds like drama. This is kind of interesting. So I guess there's like a not a dispute, but kind of a interesting like back and forth between two scientists about proper classification. And this is a cool little rundown of be careful with pulling DNA from preserved specimens. So sorry, let's keep going. It just sounded like interesting drama. So Let's see. Constricting diversity, conservation status, and management challenges in Costa Rica. I think the Ninja Lanternshark is probably part of a bigger collective in this, so let's see. Yep, we provide an updated checklist on species richness, habitat use, and distribution patterns, so it's probably barely in here. Yeah, let's just do a control find. There we go. Interestingly, most of these deepwater species were formally reported for Costa Rica within the last 4 years. Three of which were formally described. They represent newly discovered species during the same time period from type specimens collected in Costa Rica. So there's a new chimera, there's an Etmopterus, and then Nodaraja is probably a ray. The increase in the number of recently described deepwater species in Central America suggests that the chondrichthyan richness may increase as research efforts in the region continue. So that's pretty cool to think about. Oh, Roy, this is a cool comment. As a kid, I always thought that a shark's teeth are see-through, as some do have a slight translucence to it. Yeah, I think smaller sharks, I think they do kind of have that in a funny way. Again, it's interesting to think about how sharks' teeth are made of keratin, so it's like it's so different from like bone or a bony fish. And there always is like this beautiful pearly sheen to them, you know. So it is pretty cool to think about. Let's see. I wonder if there's any more. That's really it as far as this paper goes. But it's a nice kind of not a call to action, but just kind of like a nice like alarm of like, hey, you know, we are discovering more deep water species in Central America, and there's implications to that in terms of like maybe we should re-examine our conservation policy as far as deep water species. Maybe we should invest in more research in deep water areas and explore more. So kind of a cool idea. Let's see. Shark array diversity in the tropical America, neotropics, an examination of environmental and historical factors affecting diversity. Let's see. It's not going to let me... Oh. Oh, okay. So this may not be directly related to our shark, but there is a cool concept here, so I do want to read this. So this abstract, we present the first comprehensive review, and I'm sorry, this is by Jorge Domingo Carrillo Briceño, Juan de Carrillo, Rango Antonio Aguilera, and Marcelo R. Sanchez Villagra. We present the first comprehensive review of the present and past shark and ray diversity in marine waters of tropical America, examining the patterns of distribution in the eastern central Pacific and western central Atlantic realms. We identified the major regions of diversity and of endemism and explored the relation to physical variables. We found a strong relationship between shark and ray diversity with area and coastal length of each province. The tropical Northwest and Atlantic province is characterized by high diversity and greater occurrence of endemic species, suggesting this province as the hotspot of sharks and rays in tropical America. The historical background for the current biogeography is explored and analyzed. Referential data from 67 geological units in 17 countries, from both shallow and deepwater habitats across 5 time clusters from the Miocene to the Pleistocene were studied. Let's see. The most diverse neogene and extant groups of shark and ray are carchariniforms and myliobatiforms, respectively, which makes sense. Carchariniforms is super species rich. These are the cat sharks and bull sharks and hammerheads and weasel sharks. The differentiation between Pacific and Atlantic faunas goes to at least the middle Miocene, probably related with the increasing closure of the Central American Seaway acting as a barrier. So, the highest faunal similarity between assemblages from the Eastern Pacific and Western Atlantic at the early Miocene could be related to the lack of a barrier back then, but increased sampling is needed to substantiate this hypothesis. So I wanted to read that because this is actually really cool. This is referring to kind of the rise of Central America and how it's split the Pacific from the Atlantic, because this used to be open. And so you have, with that split, a change in endemism and a change in how species have evolved, where the Atlantic species went in one direction and then the Pacific species went in another direction. So I just think that's extremely cool. So I did want to kind of read that really quickly, because it's referring to specifically just how this area was once connected, and then with I mean, you can even see it just in terms of like how thin that barrier is, but as like the geology changed, that thin barrier became more and more important, and it split two groups apart. So it's such a cool thing. So I did want to take a moment to talk about that. So it is kind of cool how they broke this up. This is a pretty simple chart, but like it does show that, like, okay, look at the Atlantic. You have temperate northern Atlantic, tropical Atlantic, temperate southern Atlantic, and then temperate southern Pacific, tropical Pacific, and then temperate northern Pacific. And you can see that there's more diversity in the Atlantic as far as sharks and rays go than the Pacific. And that becomes more pronounced to the north, which is pretty cool. So, very, very cool. We won't go into detail on this. It's such a cool concept, though, that I just wanted to shout out to it. I don't think our Ninja Lanternshark is gonna be prominently in here, but let me type in. This is such a cool study, and I know, like, we really do love just seeing how on the geologic time scale how habitat affects evolution. So I'm leaving the title in the comments right here. So Shark and Ray Diversity in the Tropical America Neotropics, an examination of environmental and historical factors affecting diversity. So for further reading, this is a publicly available article. So it's such a cool project. I think I've seen this before a couple years ago. So yeah, I recommend it. I do think it's a pretty fascinating read. So we're almost at 11. I'm just checking. I'm sure there's probably not a distinct note about our lantern shark in this, but oh, that was really cool. Oh, cool. So these are not ecoregions. These are a little bit bigger, but this is a cool breakdown of different provinces. So tropical northwestern Atlantic, northern Brazil shelf, tropical southwestern Atlantic. Yeah, these are too big to be ecoregions. But I do love when you break the ocean down like this, where it kind of helps identify unique areas of the sea. So very cool. Yeah. Like Howard and Roy, this is awesome. Like the fossil record of sharks and rays and factors affecting paleodiversity. This is I know this is a super cool paper, so I'm glad I copied the title in the comments. So since we're getting close to the end of tonight's stream, I think this is a worthwhile read. So I definitely recommend this. This is published in PeerJ. So is there anything other? But yeah, if you just copy and paste that into Google, this will come up. So it's a pretty cool study. Or Bing, I don't know if Bing still exists, but if you use Bing, or Ask Jeeves. I don't know if Ask Jeeves still. Does anybody remember Ask Jeeves as a search engine? Just fun fact. Jeeves was helpful sometimes. Jeeves was the Alfred we needed sometimes. Let's see. Yeah, I think the Lanternshark is probably just a reference here. And we're so close to 11. I think this is a study on a parasite, so I think that might be really it, because we really did like the big one with like the first description of the species, and it had like these just stunning photographs of it. So I think as far as the shark goes, I'm glad we actually started with like the main article, so which probably has the most detail on the species specifically. So yeah, but this honestly, like this stream, like I didn't expect to cover as much as we did, as far as how like the Ninja Lanternshark goes, or how it got its name, or just general like extremophiles, but it was really cool. So yeah, we're getting close to 11, so we'll wrap up in a little bit, but thank you guys so much for watching. We did already pick out a shark for next week. This was Roy's suggestion. We're going to do the Mandarin dogfish. So this is actually going to be really cool because it is a larger, I think for the squaliforms we've been doing for the most part small sharks. We've done sleeper sharks before, which are bigger, but Roy, what's Ask Jeeves? You know what? That's a good question, Roy. Let's end on a fun note. Let's see if it exists still. Ask Jeeves. Oh my God! It is still here. It is still I cannot believe this is here. Okay. Let's ask. It's basically Google. It is a debatably worse version of Google. But let's see. You know, it's a search engine. Let's see if we get Etmopterus benchleyi. Yeah, it's worse. It's worse. That's terrible. At least we got this thing. But yeah, there we go. So yeah, Ask Jeeves is like a search engine. I think it was one of the first search engines to appear when search engines were becoming a thing. This was back in the ancient days in which Amazon was only selling books, and like AOL was like, you know, everybody had it before it went out of business, and like the internet has changed. These are ancient times. These were the ages of the pyramids. Ask Jeeves was something that I don't even know who uses now, but no offense to if anybody does use it, you know, just like it's basically just a search engine. So I'm amazed that it's still here. I guess people use it, you know, but it is you know, it's just, yeah, I'm probably gonna stick with Google as far as like trying to find info. But anyway, on that kind of judgmental note. So, honestly, thank you guys so much for watching. This was a super cool. Oh, hey, before we go, I'm sorry. I know I pulled this up. Shoot. Another shout out to Sharks for Kids. I'm so sorry. Sharks for Kids is really cool. I know we talked about them briefly, but I forgot they had something on the Ninja Lanternshark. I just realized that I had that tab open. So most of it is a nice summary of we already tonight, but Sharks for Kids is super cool. This is a really fun team. So I definitely recommend checking them out. So sorry about that. I didn't have that tab still open. So but yeah, they had a nice little rundown of the Lanternshark. But fortunately, we actually covered most of it tonight. Anyway, and again, this photo right here. Resolution is beautiful, and I've never really seen this particular one before of this individual specimen, so super cool. But anyway, Halloween continues next week. I don't think I'll have a costume for the Mandarin dogfish, but I don't know. That could change. We'll see what happens. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I had a lot of fun covering the Ninja Lanternshark with you as the greatest ninja of them all, Batman, or the greatest Kisi fighter of them all, or the greatest League of Shadows fighter of them all. Whatever Batman is trained on, I think this is the right shark to do a Batman costume with. But anyway, super cool shark, really cool information on it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Friday the 13th is coming up. Good point, Howard. So yeah, stay safe. Hope you guys have a fun night. And I should probably watch. Is that That's Jason, right? Friday the 13th is Jason. Jason Voorhees. Yeah. Okay. So we should probably all maybe watch Friday the 13th movies this weekend. It's probably the right weekend to do it. But anyway, hope you guys have a really great week, and we'll come back for the Mandarin dogfish, a larger kind of dogfish with interesting barbels. So yeah. So. Oh, getting the spooky paycheck on Friday. Yeah, Roy. Oh my gosh. Well, that's definitely a party night, or at least like a popcorn night for maybe a scary movie. So, but cheers, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Halloween. It's Halloween all month long. Hope you guys have a good one. Check out Port Dover on Friday the 13th. I'll have to check it out as well. But cheers, guys. Have a good one. Bye.